trash people. And I barely ever saw the light of day because when you live in a basement, there's only one window, and I was too small to even look at it. So I'm like, for me, it was always dark at the first point in my life. Um, I'm glad my cousin, not like the one that just got married, but his brother, he tore down that whole place and it's like brand new. Like any attachment, like negative attachment he had to that place is gone now. Oh, what a godsend. Like normally I cuss him because he's really fucking lazy. But that's the only good thing that he did. Um yeah, anyways, young child in the basement stuff, we used to deal with all of the religious stuff. I didn't agree with anything, and remember, I'm a young child and I'm talking to spirits and things. In that basement, I remember, because this is the first time I meet older brother. It was at the time when I was learning to write, because they would beat me so hard for this. Every time I would go to sleep, I'm like, the basement is filled with spirits, right? And my grandfather knew every fucking person, right? So if I said anything, they're gonna say I'm crazy or some shit, right? Um, so I think they were like relatives, but I don't know because I don't know these people and we didn't have photos or anything, right? Like I don't know what my grandfather's parents look like or any. I don't know what anybody looks like from after my grandparents, right? Because there was a lot of because a lot of people died young too, and I'm like, I don't know who these people are. I just know that they're family. Like it felt like that, and that's the first time I met older brother, right? And I remember because I was scared and I couldn't sleep, and I'm always a night owl. I'm always awake at night, right? So I remember he would stay near me and he said, they're not going to bother you, right? And I told you guys, I remember the times like he would be there helping me to draw and stuff because I'm like, I used to get beat because I couldn't write and now this generation doesn't know how to fucking write. And I'm like, what the hell did they beat me for? I used to get fucking beat for everything. But anyways, I told you guys the same thing too. He used to follow me to school and everything. So for me, I'm like, okay, because education wasn't a thing in the family, right? So I'm like, maybe that's why he's following. But then I look back and I'm like, he was really protecting me. He's still protecting the house back there. I don't know if Flowers are doing right now. When Flowers comes back, he'll tell me, and then I gotta fill him in on the nonsense going on here. Right? So I already rejected religion when I was younger. And I had an inclination toward the spirits because I could see them since then, right? So people always found it weird. They're like, Lisa likes being alone, but I'm like, I'm not really alone, right? Because I'm like, I could go somewhere. Like it, you never. It's hard to explain. It's just like you don't get a moment by yourself just to think. Cause right now it's nice having God around. Cause I'm like, the room is empty. Like this for me, this is a first to have the room completely aside from basket there, right? um, but he'll get up and leave if he doesn't want to be in here, right? It's okay. Um, yeah, but usually it's not this quiet, right? Like where I can hear myself. Like normally when they're here, I have to ignore them being there. It was really hard when I was younger because I'm like, I don't want people to say, well, what is she talking to? What is she looking at? That kind of thing. I'm like, I don't want them to like bring that up. But I always used to do a lot of things on my own and I can do them now. But because I had those spirits there, right? I told you they raised me better than any of the living people near me. Um, So from there, I'm always either at the house or I'm wherever I need to be, like school, right? There's nothing in between, right? It's point A, point B, and then back, right? Not that like I didn't want to do things, but like if I didn't do what my parents wanted, I'd get beat. right? So say I'm like, oh, I want to hang out at a friend's house. Oh, I want to go pick this up from the store. Like stuff, I had to ask for everything, and it'd always be a no, right? It's like if I went out of my way to do it because I felt like doing it, they would beat me, right? So most of my spirit stuff was at home, right? Because I told you a lot of them come to see my dad too. I'd see them in the front yard. They'd ask to come in or not, and I'm like, I can't tell you that. Same thing in the house. I'm like, Spirit Strong is right by the door and right by the backyard. And going, okay, Jay brought this up in one of the videos. He said his mom said that spirits go up and down the staircase if it's right in front of the, that is true. If it's right in front of the door and you see this, I don't know how it works or why, but I've seen so many times spirits going up and down the stairs. I've said this too before in a video. I told you guys, I'm like, I see this spirit going into Bri's room, right? And going up and down. I remember talking about this, right? Because I'm reflecting back on everything that's happened up until this point. Yes, that's true. I don't know why that happens, but they, for some reason, they really like going up and down stairs. Okay. Um, I never like being in the living room in the house because that's where I felt the most spiritual presence, right? Unless I'm asleep, it'll be by the front door. But I used to tell you guys, I used to sleep in the couch all the time, and I'd hear older brother and Flowers talking or whatever. I'm like, shut the fuck up so I can sleep. I remember telling you guys this. I'm like, it's right there, and we have the TV running. I'm like, I never had to feel scared because I knew they were there. So now, oh, here's another thing I didn't mention because this is one of those times where I'm like, it had to be God. So in the house, right? Back when I had high school, so before I had the whole summer school bullshit, um, the main, you know, like how people always have a separate room for the computer, right? But for laptops, and we still had like desktops. Right when you come into the house is like the computer area and then the kitchen, right? I don't know why they designed the house like that, but it's like that, right? So because the computer's there, I don't think I had my laptop yet. This is before I got this computer, right? Since we're talking about computers, I didn't. We had our first like home computer back when we were in the basement. I was 7 years old at the time. All we used to do is play flash games, and Dad would kill you. He'd always get so mad. He's like, what the fuck? But I really hated dial up at the time because everything took so fucking long. But I really miss using Microsoft Paint and like the media player visualizer. Like I remember like on that all the time. But anyways, first computer we had when I started downloading music illegally. So when that computer got fucked, then he had more reason to be mad at me. Uh, I got so lucky I avoided a beating for that. Oh my god. I'm like, if I didn't avoid that, I would have been dead. Like, there's no way. Yeah, so we haven't had a computer since then, right? Like, we had laptops and stuff, but like the cheap shit, right? Like, nothing good. So, like, we finally get that, like, home computer, right? Because keep in mind, it's only my dad working at this point in time, and there's 6 of us, right? So he's got 5 of us to take care of, and he's like, okay, I gotta put money into computer now because you have to do homework, right? Yeah, so I'm in high school now. I remember having Word open all the time because I had science classes and I don't remember what research papers I was doing at the time, right? Um this might be before at the same time I met Vic, but anyways, I used to pull a lot of late nighters because I'm like not because I'm like it's due the next day, but because the information was so interesting, right? And I'm not getting this from anywhere else. And I told you guys because I read energy, I want to pick up everything that I can to understand what I'm reading, right? And then I would talk to older brother about it because he'd be right there and he'd be like, yo, what'd you learn today? And I'm like, I did this, this, and this. But when I tell Flowers is like, I hate watching you and study position. Because for him it's like a frozen screen, right? He's like, you're not moving, but I'm like, there's so much interesting stuff here. I can't I can't pick it up that fast. Yeah, so it'd be Dad would get pissed because he's like, don't turn any of the lights on, right? He's like, I'm not paying for this electricity. He's like, do your homework during the day. But I'm like, I felt it at night because I told you guys when everybody goes to sleep, my energy increases now, right? Because I'm like, no one's drawing energy from me now. So I'm like, he bought me that lamp. I don't know if you guys saw it, like the little, it looks like the Toy Story lamp. And he had me plug that in near the computer, so I'd have that turned on. It's pitch black, right? At night, I'd be on the computer doing whatever research I'm doing, the lamp's going, and I'd always hear these noises in the house, right? I can't like replicate it for you to understand. I would hear these noises in the and it's always in by the computer room, like right where the spirits would be, right? Like, but I never, like, older brother, he would move shit, so I know he would be there, but he doesn't make the sound, right? There's always a sound to the house, right? When I'd be working, it'd sound like, like if you were cracking your knuckles, but it's not your knuckles, it's the walls, right? Like, it's that sound in the wall. So I'm like, I used to hear that sound all the time because I'd be up late at night, right? So I figured, I never said this to anybody, right? I just figured, oh, it's an old house, it's creaking, right? It's just creaking sounds. I come here now, right? This place is relatively new, and I hear the sound again. Sometimes from that wall, sometimes from the wall behind me there, and it only recently started. And what's been happening recently? God's been coming to see me. So now when I think about it, I'm like, is God making that noise in the walls? And I was like, oh my fucking God. And when I think back to how many times I heard that sound, he was there. Because in the other room where the TV is and the couch and where I passed out, we had statues there where my mom would pray. Right? You're not praying to the statue, you need something physical so you don't look crazy when you're praying, right? My mom's the only one I would see, like, I'd watch praying, right? Like, she'd just go like this, right? But she didn't teach us how to do this or anything. Sometimes I would see her in the living room and she'd be watching something biblical, right? Like, the only thing that I can think of is when you watch like the sea being parted type of thing, but I don't know anything about the Bible because she never had one on hand, and I only see her pray and whatever's on the TV. And then whatever the old people are doing, that doesn't make any fucking sense. So when I think back now, how many times I heard that sound, I knew it had to be him because I'm like, I'm hearing it again here, and I'm like, this isn't an old house. So I'm like, I got the chills now because I'm like, what the hell? I feel like my hearing, I can hear it clearly when he's here. Like, it doesn't feel like static. The only people I know that pray are my mom and my grandmother, but my grandmother's Hindu, so I'm like, I don't know what God she does fucking pray to, right? Because if you look at all the biblical texts, and I told you all the religious stuff all overlap, so I'm like, it can't be more than fucking one, right? If I'm logically thinking about this, because I'm like, my dad's side of the family, they'd be talking about there's like this God, this, you know how like there's so many Hindu gods, and I'm looking at this and I'm like, why in the fuck? Then when I look at my mom's side, it's like, she said because before my grandfather died, because he died, then Bri was born. I don't remember what happened after. But anyways, she would say that he was he was a Christian, right? Which is really weird for West Indian people because most of them aren't, right? So she said Christianity made more sense to her than Hinduism, right? And I'm like, okay. But I never had either of my parents tell me anything about religion other than they get pissed when I'm around people and I don't act a certain way, right? My mom's like, oh, if we're like if we're near my mom's side of the family, she'll be like, because my grandmother used to scold me. She's like, why aren't you praying? And I'm like, I don't fucking know how. And then when I tell her that, she'd get even more mad. She's like, that's the other thing that would piss me off too. It's like every time I asked the adults for help, they would just call me stupid. They're like, how do you not know how to do this? How do you not know how to do that? I'm like, you're the adult. You're supposed to fucking teach me what to do. What the fuck are you talking about? You're the stupid one here, not me. But then I couldn't say anything if I didn't want to get boxed across the face, right? It's the same thing too now. If I go back to the house, there's no way I'm gonna come out there without any fucking bruises, because after, like, I feel my nervous system's calm here now, because I'm like, I don't flinch or like dodge or anything now, because I'm like, I don't have to worry about someone knocking me for saying something, right? Um, yeah, my dad's side of the family would always be so pissed. They're like, how do you not know how to do this and this? I'm like, I don't pray at any random shit, right? I'm like, right, to me, I don't do anything blind, right? If it's not without purpose, I'm like, what the fuck am I doing it for? So I'm hearing that sound again, right? So like I know if I don't see him when I sleep, because that's new. That never happened. I never saw him when I sleep. Because it's been happening more and more, but it's because Flower sent him here, and now I gotta give him a mouthful. But I'm like, recently I keep hearing the same sound of like the walls being broken in. Like, I don't know how to explain to you. If you're here, make a sound so they can hear. I hear that sound here, and I'm like, that can't be. That can't, like, what? Okay, so you guys following with me at this point, right? So I'm like, I don't agree with any of the spiritual stuff either side of my family are doing. Parents don't force it on me. Call me stupid all the time because I don't know how to do anything, but I picked up everything I did from elsewhere because I'm like, I sense energy. I got taken care of really well by the spirits that are always near me. Didn't know God was there. Then at that point in the story is when I meet Flowers, right? I met Flowers in one of my science classes. That photo's up on my feed, you'll see it, because I'm like, I told you his energy's like this. Every time I sense florals near me, I know he's nearby. Same thing with when I got that new bag and everything. You guys see the floral cutouts in there? Anything that's floral related, because I told you guys I don't like flowers at all. Because they remind me of funerals, right? That's the only, like, when people have flowers near them is to ease some sort of pain, right? That's the only reason I don't like it, right? Like, to me, it reminds me of like sadness, death, that type of thing. So when I see florals come out of nowhere, I know it's coming from Flowers because he's letting me know he's there. Each of them have their own thing that they do, which is really interesting. But anyways, I meet Flowers now, and I'm like, okay, older brother's no longer following me to school. Sometimes when we'd be in the dining room, I'd turn the TV on, and because I feel bad, I'm like, if he's stuck in the house here with us, I'm like, you might as well watch something interesting. I used to get yelled at so much because they're like, why would you fall asleep with the TV running? But I'm like, it's not me watching it though, right? Like, I don't want to. Anyways, spent high school all with Flowers, right? And that's when I started getting into cards and crystals and that type of thing because I'm like, Flowers, like, I don't know what else to do, right? Like, the spiritual presence getting strong now when I be around people. I told you guys it would freak Anna out, right? Or people like being near me because they're like, nothing bad ever happens. But I'm like, I'm talking to them and I can sense what's going on with you guys. Like, I have to start getting good at what I'm doing here now, right? Then I finish. Then I get into uni. Then you guys meet me for the first time here because I tell you guys, I'm like, I hear the YouTube energy coming up. And then from there is when all of these videos start coming through, right? I told you guys too, when I opened albums, the spirits were talking to me at that point in time too because I'm like, okay, at that point, I still don't, like, God hadn't come see me, right? Because I'm like, that never crossed my mind. You guys know, like, I do a whole bunch of different stuff. Like, I read books, that kind of thing. Now, when I look back now from all the dreams I had with him, he asked me about books, right? And I didn't know he was trying, like, this is what I don't like. I'm like, they're not fucking direct and straightforward with anything. He asked me about books, but it never occurred to me about the Bible, right? That never came up in my head. Um, it also came up when he told me he wanted my mark, right? Because he knows I'm talking to the others, but I don't talk to him, right? So he feels like he's letting me know certain things. He's like reading the Bible, feeling left out. Because he knows what's happening ahead of time, right? When I look back, I'm like, what the heck? He's a really patient God, right? Because in my head, I'm like, what do they say? He's loving, merciful, and whatever. I don't remember what the words are. You guys yell at me through the screen for this. But he's really patient because he never once told me I had to pray, right? He never told me to read he didn't tell me to read the Bible. He just asked me out of all the books I read if I liked any of them, and I told him I couldn't recommend any of them to him. I don't think I'd even recommend the Bible because there's some crazy ass shit there. I'm like, if you have the modern day one and not the old one, because that was written when, how many fucking years ago? I'm like, oh god. Right? He never brought up certain. I told you guys I side with him because he's kind-hearted, right? He hasn't given me a reason to turn away from him, right? Because he never told me, oh, you're not praying to me, oh, you're not reading the Bible, oh, you don't go to church, right? I just knows that when he started coming to see me, and I was like, what the heck? Because in my head, when I look at it from like a law hierarchy. You know how you have like if you have problems, you go to the person who caused said problems. If you guys can't work it out, then you go to the next level. Okay, what can we use for an example? Okay, let's say car accident because that's the first thing that popped to mind. You get into a car accident, if you can't sort it out with the other person or whoever else is there, then you guys call the police. That's the next step, right? Then the police have to get in as like the neutral party. Then if that can't get resolved, then you go to court, right? And then you deal with the judge or the jury or whatever's going on. So in my head, when I think about God, to me he's the highest level, right? So I told you guys I don't ask him for anything, I don't call him for anything because I'm like he's the top tier level, right? So I'm like I haven't been in a situation where I'm like I really fucking need God right now. You know what I mean? I try to deal with everything so we don't get to that point, right? Because he's probably dealing with a whole bunch of because he sees everything, right? I told him not to look at me because it's like all the eyes staring at you at once. I'm like, okay, he's probably busy with so much other shit. Why would I call him for random, meaningless shit? You know what I mean? They tell you can pray to him at any time. In my head, I'm like, okay, say I get into a car accident, why would I go straight to the judge and not the police or to the other party first, right? It's not like I'm fixing it by myself, but I'm like, you know what I mean? Like, to me, it doesn't make sense. I never had a reason to, like, call on him. And then I feel bad now because he's trying to let me know that I'm making him feel left out. And I was like, ah, fuck. I'm like, I don't know how to fix that. I'm like, I'm not in a situation where I was like, I need God at this moment. I'm like, God, come through, you know what I mean? But I'm like, I haven't been in that situation. So now when I look back, I'm like, it's so fucking weird. You know what else like came to mind too? When I was coming here, because I told you it felt like I was reborn. I told you guys, right when I got to the end near here, I got soaked completely from head to toe. right? And as I'm reading like all of this like biblical shit, I'm like, it sounds like I got baptized like out of context, because I was soaked head to toe. I had to strip off all my clothes, and I was like, what the heck? And then presence with him being here got really, really strong. Right? So union stuff, I did all like the after I was getting, because I had suppressed the reading, like, cause, you know, like I can't be talking to something randomly in the room that some of you can't see, right? So um I'd be suppressing that or be dealing with certain things, and then I had flowers tell me to, you know, like help me with crystals and stuff, because I still use these certain things, right? They're not there for fucking aesthetics, they're there for actual use. Yeah, so I'd be using crystals, cards, that type of thing. I didn't like, to me, he never told me that was wrong to do, right? So I'm like, okay. Even now, he didn't tell me to pick up a Bible and read it. Except for when I told him I couldn't sleep, then he told me. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, ah, oh, good point. So I told you guys, I'm like, okay. I never call on him for anything, and I'm like, I feel fucked during my birthday. I'm like, you know what? I'll spend the day with him, because why not? I'm like, if I don't call him for anything, I better call him for this. I'm like, okay, the day wasn't that festive, and he was there with me. I told you guys I couldn't feel my body, but I could feel stuff going on, and he was nearby. Um, so because I started seeing him frequently in my sleep now, right? Because I told you he was sitting right there. That was kind of freaky, but I'm like, at the same time, I don't know how to explain it. I'm like, I feel both uncomfortable and comfortable at the same time, because I'm like, at least I know no one else is coming through that fucking door. But at the same time, I'm like, why is like like, am I in trouble? Like, why are you here? Right? Like, oh god. So I keep seeing him a lot in my sleep, and I was like, okay. So I told him, I'm like, you know what? Because when I start putting the, like, you know, like connecting the dots in my head, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go. That's when I told you guys, I'm like, I'm looking at the churches, right? Because I'm like, okay, when I look back to where I used to live, the churches aren't obvious, but they're all over the place. Because I was like telling him, I'm like, I see so many churches here when I walk past, and I don't know why. And when I compare them, I'm like, it's about the same amount. And I'm like, okay. Because I'm like, the spirits brought me here. Out of all places, why did they bring me here? And I told you guys, I've already seen some of these places in my sleep. Speaking of which, when Flowers comes back, I need to tell him we gotta up and move now. We've been here for too long now. I keep feeling a pull. I'll talk to him about this, and when we have that conversation, I'll come back and tell you guys. I don't want to tell you guys preemptively. At least before it snows. I want to get out of here before then. Money's running low, so I might end up on the road. Now I need to call on him now, right? I'm like, Anyways. So I start having these dreams with him in there, and I'm like, okay, when I wake up now, I'm like trying to logically think of stuff now, right? That's when I start looking at the maps and I start seeing the churches. And then I start telling him, I'm like, I'm gonna go check out these churches now, right? Like, I'm gonna do some research, because I'm like, if I didn't have time for you, like the whole first part of my life, I'm like, I have to cut out some time to help with you here. Because I told you, he solves one problem, causes 10 more, right? And I told you when he had me made, he told me to bring that up too. Because he called me stupid for this. So I was like, he told me to tell you guys, because I told you guys he didn't make me, right? And I'm like, how do I explain this to them? And he's like, you're so dumb. He said, so I was asleep. You guys know how I have the sheet music on that mirror over there? So I have this dream, right? So instead of him being on the floor now, he's standing in front of the mirror. I don't know if he's left-handed, because he's holding the page like this. And I was like, wow. He's clearly taller than the mirror, because I can't see his face in the mirror, which is a good thing, because I don't want all those eyes staring back at me. I think he had a reflection, so I was like, okay, I don't feel weird. But I'm like, he's standing in front of the mirror holding the sheet music, and he's explaining to me how to explain this to you guys now, right? He's like, you do such a bad job at explaining. I'm like, that's your fault. You made me that way. Anyways, I'm asleep having this dream where he's holding the sheet music, right? I don't know if he's left-handed, but I see his left hand holding the sheet music, and he said, this is how you describe it. He said, you tell them, I'm the composer and you're the sheet music. Alright, and then I'm like, okay, if you're the composer of this sheet music, what do you call the, what do you call, what do you technically call my creator, right? And he said your creator would be the performer, right? And I was like, oh, that makes sense, okay. He's the songwriter, I'm the song, and she would be the singer, right? This is how it makes sense. So I was like, ah, thank goodness. And then he said, you're so dumb. He said, explain that to them. I was like, ah. I was like, you trying to throw hands? I'm like, if I had to go and like punch him, I feel like it'd be like knocking a teddy bear. It'd probably tickle him. It'd be funny, but I'm like, I'm really irritated right now that you didn't tell me that beforehand. Because I'm like, that makes so much sense now for me to explain this to you guys. Because I keep telling you guys, I'm like, technically he didn't make me, but he did, right? So imagine he's a songwriter, so he wrote the song, but he didn't perform the song, so he never gets credit for it. The singer that sings the song, you think it's their song, but it's not theirs. And he said that's the easiest way to explain it. And I was like, that makes so much sense. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I never leave his side, even though I technically could, because I know there's other ones out there, right? I told you one of them pisses me off because he always calls me a pet, and I'm like, I wasn't designed that way. I told you guys my soul's still technically new. If you're looking, because I can tell when I encounter people how old their spirit is, right? It's hard to find one that's roughly the same as mine. But you can tell when something's fossil age and when something's fucking fresh off the boat. You know what I mean? Like, you can tell. Anyways, when I had that dream, I was really mad because I'm like, he called me stupid and I really want to like punch him. But at the same time, I was like, Eureka, I finally understand like how to explain this now. Like, it makes sense. Right? He didn't get any of the credit, right? My creator gets all the credit for my existence, but he doesn't, even though technically he, like, I don't know how to put it into words. He's gonna be laughing at me, calling me dumb again. Anyways, yeah, he's the composer, I'm the sheet music, and she's the singer. So I was like, that makes so much sense. Because he told me, okay, if we're looking at it that way, because you guys are going to start asking me now, it's like, why didn't he make me, right? For whatever purpose he needed me for, he couldn't have made me. It had to be her, right? Like, think about a song. He told me to explain this way. Think about a song. If another singer sang that song, it doesn't come off the same way, right? So he said he had to pass me off to her to have her make me, right? Imagine like IKEA instructions. It's like he wrote out all of the sheet music, right? It's like it's in this time signature, these are the notes, everything, but it's not for me to perform, it's for you to do because it's gonna come out right if you do it, right? He can't, it's I don't know how to explain it, but that's what he said. So after she had me made, right? I came out exactly how he wanted, right? It's just that you can't tell that he was the one that did, like, it's hard to explain. Right? So when I'm near him, I'm like, I don't have any of his annoying features. That's why they say, like, he makes you in his image, right? Like, experience-wise, I have that, but all his annoying traits I don't possess. And same thing when he's near me, I'm like, I don't feel that pull. Like, you guys will feel that draw toward him where you'll feel like if you did something wrong or not, but I don't feel that because I'm like, he passed me off to someone else. He also told me this story. I remember telling you guys this. He told me this story of like, because he never finished telling me. It just felt like someone he really cared for made something and he can't replicate it, so he keeps it around, but it's causing him problems. He hasn't told me that part of the story yet. I don't know if I can come across it in the fucking biblical text shit that I keep coming across, but like, we'll have to see. Anyways, I had that dream and I'm like, okay, now I can explain it. So when someone asks, I tell them I'm God's sheep music, right? Like, that's so sick. He also told me another story too. But I'll get to that as I'm like explaining the Bible stuff now, right? I'm trying to get through this as fast and as logically as I can, because if it not makes sense, it's gonna be it's gonna be hard to follow through, okay? According to the stories, there's only one God, right? Which would be him. I don't know why he's male, okay? Because if you look at it, first person was male, all the angels are male, men are the fucking problem. Anyways, I told you the only credit he gets is for making women, because at least he made us pretty. Anyway. I talk about this hierarchy. There's God, then there's, I guess, the aeons. Then I had to come into play because the aeons are really fucking sad. Then there's the angels. And then whatever the fuck comes after. I don't know where people and animals and stuff come in after that, okay? I just know that there's always been a hierarchy. I remember when I first came into existence, how much they enjoyed my presence, because I didn't know anything. I told you guys I didn't know the concept of death. I didn't know sadness. Those types of things I didn't experience until I came here. Anyways, and I've never lived this long, right?